Hey guys, it's
Cam
and Katie. I'm American.
and I'm from Ireland and we live here in Spain.
Isn't it beautiful? Anyway, every single day we go on a walk together. Even if it's at 11 p.m., we fit in this walk. And on our walks, we talk about everything under the sun, quite literally. But we got to talking about a few things we hate about Spain, which was kind of even hard to even come up with anything, if I'm being honest.
What happened was we were talking about one thing in particular that kind of annoys us about Spain, and it got us thinking like there's probably a few more things we could think of. So we decided, okay, let's do a video about the things we don't like about living in Spain. And like Caitlin said, it genuinely was hard to think of, which is a good thing because we don't want...
We're being nitpicky,
Yeah,
okay?
we chose to live here, so we don't want there to be too many negative things.
So what's the thing that sparked this conversation?
So what sparked this conversation, one of the things that we really dislike about living in Spain, and this is probably top of the list, is we hate how much of a smoking culture there is in Spain. Like, lots of people smoke here. Pretty much most people smoke or have smoked. But the problem is that they all, like, because so many people smoke, they don't think about what it's like to not be a smoker. So like when you're sitting at a cafe or at a restaurant, if you're sitting outside, people just light up and they don't care how close they are to your food or how close they are to you.
Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of times that we've been sitting down, we're halfway through our lunch, and a puff of smoke will just come right at our faces, and I feel like people don't care.
Yeah, so that's just one of the things that we really dislike, is just how much they smoke, how often they smoke, how they smoke in so many places. You can rarely escape it.
And like even when we're getting into the lift, like our elevator,
in our
apartment complex, it's full of smoke. So we could live without this smoking.
Yeah, so that's thing number one. Another thing that really bugs us about living in Spain is just the bureaucracy of certain things. So especially when it comes to like paperwork and stuff, it's just overly complicated. It takes so much longer than what you'd expect. Like our residency, even when Sophie was born, just getting her birth cert, that's one thing that is kind of annoying about Spain, is just the paperwork of life. Like when you live here, it can be
Quite the process.
pretty drawn out,
Okay, something we are not used to really yet, because I'm from America and Cameron's from Ireland, we just order tap water at restaurants. We don't pay for water ever, but they don't like to drink their tap water here in Spain, so we have to pay for our water, which at times is more expensive than like fizzy drinks. And they're a lot smaller portions. So like
tiny little bottles. It's so annoying. I have to say that is high on our list, because Kate and I, we don't really drink fizzy drinks or like any other kind of drink. Yeah. We always just get water when we go out to eat, and like Caitlin said, sometimes the water is more expensive than a fizzy drink, or even alcohol. Like alcohol is cheaper than water sometimes.
So alcohol will come with most meals if you get a menu of the day, but water's not included sometimes. So people are drinking all this free wine and then we're paying for our water. But also we went out the other night with our friends and they got unlimited fizzy drinks or soda, and then we had to pay for our each water.
And they were tiny. So yeah, that's the annoying thing. The problem is a lot of people have this misconception that you can't drink tap water in Spain, but what it is that the Spaniards don't like the taste. They don't like the taste of their tap water, so they never drink it. So like places don't offer it because just no one drinks it. So kind of going hand in hand with like eating out and food and stuff, another thing that we really dislike is that there's not as many options as far as fast food is concerned in Spain.
Yeah, they have McDonald's, Burger King, they have the basics.
They have the main chains, so like KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. But other than that, every restaurant is like home cooked food. You have to sit down, you have to wait for it. Even if you get it to go, you have to wait for it to be cooked. It takes ages. So that's another complaint. Like even in Ireland, but especially in America, there's so many places that literally the moment you order your food, you just pick it up and leave, or you pick it up and eat it straight away. Whereas here, there's not as many options for fast food. So
but there's a lot of restaurants to choose from. You just can't really, it's just a different experience.
Yeah. But honestly guys, like we said, there's a few things we don't like, but I mean, how can you not love living somewhere like this? Another thing that kind of bugs us about Spain, and this one in all honesty might be a bit more to do with our perspective, because like we've said in previous videos, where we live is kind of a smaller city, smaller town type area. It's kind of, it's not a resort, but it's mainly for holidays and stuff. But because it's small, sometimes that like sometimes that affects like everyday life. So for example, Caitlin and I love to work out, and one of the things that kind of bug us about the area we live in is how small the gyms are. Like every gym around where we live, within like an hour drive of where we live, is tiny. Like it's like just not, especially when you're used to America. Like there's a franchise on the West Coast called Vasa. Like their gyms are huge. They're like huge gyms. Even in Ireland we have big gyms, and here in this part of Spain every gym is like pretty small. Another thing that kind of bugs us about living in Spain at times is a lot of the restaurants open really late, but they don't open until really late. So like there's been times that we want to go out for dinner even as late as like 5:30 or 6, and we'll show up to a restaurant and they're like, sorry, we're not open till 8:30. And we're like, it's 6 p.m. like we want to eat some dinner, and they're like, yeah, come back at 8:30. And we're like, okay. And then they'll open till midnight. That's really common here in Spain, is the Spanish eat really late into the night. In the summertime, like there'll be people going out for dinner at 1 a.m.
With their children.
With their children.
This next point is really good for those who work in Spain.
If you're used to living here and you grew up this way, it's not that big of a deal and it's appreciated. But if you're not from here and you're not used to it, it's something to adjust to.
And that is, there are so many holidays. They take a day off for any reason. If there's any day for an excuse for a holiday, they're gonna take it, and everything's closed.
Yeah, so many places shut. Especially, and the worst part is the supermarket shut.
Yes, I was just gonna say, there's times where we need to go grocery shopping. It's the weekend, we have nothing, and we don't know it's a holiday, and then we can't go grocery shopping, but luckily there will be like a restaurant open, so we just eat out instead. But we just never know. And there's not enough space on our calendar to write down all the holidays.
Yeah, and there was one time that it happened to us that we had been in America. We were visiting Caitlin's family, and when we got back to Spain the next day, we obviously needed to go grocery shopping. We had nothing, like I mean nothing. And we drive to the grocery store, and as we pull up, all the shutters are down, and we're like, what's going on? And I feel like that was one of our first experiences realizing, oh, it's a Spanish holiday.
Yeah.
And there's like so many holidays. There's like local holidays, there's holidays to do with the community you live in, there's holidays to do with
if there's a holiday you could come up with, it's probably a holiday.
There's
here.
so many.
But it's definitely appreciated. They care about their workers here, and they want to give them a day off, which is really nice. We know it's appreciated to people.
Yeah, and it is good because the Spanish, not only do they love holidays, but they love having time together as families and stuff. So like no matter the holiday, people will get together, they'll have barbecues, they'll go to the beach together as a family. So they definitely make the most out of it, which is nice to see. But I'll keep saying this, as much as we might want to complain about some of these things, look at that view behind us. Like we really do live in such a paradise area. We're definitely grateful for it. So
yeah, we're being nitpicky, okay?
Yeah, very nitpicky. Another thing that can be kind of annoying about Spain is that the Spanish are known for having a manana mentality, which means tomorrow in Spanish. People are really laid back here, and it's a good thing in a lot of ways. But when it comes to kind of like professionalism, or if you want a job done, or if you're waiting for like paperwork or something, it's just such a manana mentality that you're constantly waiting longer than what's normal. So like, for example, where we live, there's like every now and then you'll see a building that was like half finished, and like they just never finished it.
They just
like,
left it.
Especially if it's like maybe the builder went bankrupt or something like that. They just won't, like normal countries, they finish it and then auction it off. Here they're like, well, no point in finishing it. So there's just like every now and then you'll see like a random building that was like half done, and it's like, okay, mañana, I guess.
Anyway, those are a few things we don't particularly love about Spain, but they were very hard to come up with because we love living here.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And stay tuned for our next video. Thanks for watching.
Bye.